We're here at THSCA. Got McMurray head coach Jordan Neal here. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's I'm fried right now. We had 8 camps all week leading up to coaching school. Started off on Monday in Abilene. I don't know who. I think it was Coach Stark, my chief of staff, who's kind of hanging out with me right now that scheduled that thing for 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Abilene, Texas in July. Not the most brilliant decision, but we had to take our show on the road. We've been traveling with a 3,000-pound trailer hitched to the back of my truck all over the state of Texas, and we finally made it here. Played a round of golf on Saturday, and we're been having fun at coaching school.
You got to have a little fun, and this is a great place. But your trip here, we were talking about that a couple days ago.
Yeah,
it was really smart. And if you're going to give Coach Stark credit for if you're going to give him trouble for the 3 o'clock in Abilene, which I don't blame you, we got to give him credit for setting all these up because it was 8 camps, like you said, and they were pretty much on your route to Houston. Yeah. You've been gone for a couple of weeks, and you guys, I'm sure, are ready to get home too.
Absolutely, I'm ready. I love sleeping in a hotel room because it's like you don't have to do the sheets, and you leave for the day and you get back and there's like fresh sheets and fresh crisp towels and stuff. It's kind of like the way. Amazingly, that's kind of how it works at my house. My wife is an immaculate housekeeper, but awesome. I am anxious to get back in my own bed. It's contoured perfectly to my body. I'm looking forward to getting home. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, definitely. But it's been a grind. I mean, we've been gone since Monday and just been hustling. And this is the second time at McMurray that we've kind of done the road show and. We added 2 camps this year compared to what we had last year, and we had nearly 600 campers.
Wow.
We don't do that for money, but it is nice for our assistant coaches to kind of pad their pockets a little bit. Because it's a paid camp just like everywhere. But more than anything, it's a great recruiting tool, and it gives us a lot of exposure.
You hit on something I want to discuss a little bit here that people don't know, and it's a little inside baseball into small college or non-FBS football, right?
Yeah.
I heard many college coaches say they took a pay cut to go from high school to a D2 or a D3 staff.
Certainly.
That is a heck of a sacrifice, and it doesn't seem like that's how it should be. I don't know how we could fix some of that. These guys, they don't make a lot.
So my brother-in-law, he's not coaching anymore, but he's from Cleburne.
Yeah.
And he grew up Cleburne ISD. He played baseball at Hardin-Simmons, and he and I are brothers-in-law. And he posted a job yesterday, a junior high coaching job. He's a principal now. He's not coaching anymore. Base pay, $60,000.
Wow!
You don't for a junior high teacher and coach.
You're not getting that in college.
Not even close.
No.
And so it really is a labor of love. I'm a Division III product. I played at Hardin-Simmons. I had an amazing experience playing for Coach Keeling at HSU. Little did I know that I was going to spend my entire coaching career, at least up to this point, as a Division III guy. I spent 4.5 years at Howard Payne. I was at Texas Lutheran, and then I was at Hendrix College up in Arkansas for nearly 8 years before coming back to McMurray in my hometown. And I've loved every minute of it, but if you got into it for the money, then you did it for the wrong reason. So I have tremendous respect for coaches in general, but really D3 coaches are just a different breed. Coach Baptiste, our recruiting coordinator, was a high school coach, and he left high school to come coach college ball because that's what he wants to do. And he's the type of guy. And Coach Will Snyder, our DC, I could name all of them by name, but these dudes are they're head coaches in the making, they're coordinators in the making, if they're not already. And they've had to make a conscientious decision to make less. To coach at the college level. I love that age. When you get a kid at 18 years old, especially coming from a good high school program, who kind of knows how to work, and that age range between 18 to 21 or 22, kind of when they graduate, it's just a great fun age. That was a really formidable time in my life, and so the coaches that I had during that time impacted me and shaped my character and my personality a great deal. And so to get to do that, hey, if they throw us a few bucks, and it pays the bills, like I feel like we're the ones that are scamming the school. But
you put together a great staff. I had the pleasure of meeting them this week, and I want to get into some of the things about McMurray because big things are happening. We'll get into the football side of it in a minute, but even here at coaching school, McMurray, they put an investment into coaching school here. They've done it for the last few years. You guys had a social. It was great. There were a lot of great coaches. Oh, hey, thanks for inviting me. But it was great to see how many people were there. It was great to see it packed. McMurray, with the head into the conference, this place seems like a place that really is still growing and building for you guys.
It is. There's a lot of exciting things going on our campus. We have a new athletic director who was actually on our coaching staff. He got into athletics administration, and now he's the interim athletic director. And so that's a neat situation, neat dynamic to have Coach Larry Dockery at the helm leading our department through this kind of transition time in lieu of Sam Ferguson leaving to go to ACU. So that's exciting. And we've got some donors and some they're the old Indians. We call them the old Indians that love McMurray. Many of those guys who went to McMurray and they met their wives there. They're proud alumni who have done well and have supported our program. They allow us to do that social. And, there was a time when McMurray really had a huge, huge footprint of high school, public high school coaches in the state of Texas that were alumni. And there's still quite a few of those guys out there. We're trying to churn out more of them and kind of regain that culture and that flavor. But
I was talking to Coach Fredenberg earlier today, and he said when he came in, McMurray was at the top of the conference back then, and so it's got that ability, and it definitely can get there again. And I noticed during the social, there's a lot of schools, and McMurray's one of them. Midwestern State is another. There's multiple. They were named Indians, and then the NCAA came in, right? And then you see some of it with not Indians necessarily, but Texas A&M Commerce, East Texas State,
right.
To bridge the Indians to Mustangs, Indians to Warhogs, East Texas State to Commerce. You guys kept the Alacumba.
Yep.
What are some of the other things you guys? Because you got to bridge that gap.
It's a dangerous question you're asking me right now.
You got to bridge the gap because it's a real thing that you got to bring the Indians.
Yeah.
They don't like that it's Warhawks now. I know this. I've seen it. So how do you bring them in? Some of that stuff helps.
Yeah. Well, for me personally, I'm kind of lucky that I'm an Abilene guy. I mean, I grew up in the house I grew up in. Was right down the street from Cooper High School, where I went to high school. Played for Randy Allen and Randy Quisenberry, and then I could get to McMurray. I spent probably more time in my youth playing in Old Indian Gym, and out at Wilford Moore Stadium than I did over on the north side of town or whatever. And so it's lucky for me that I have a lot of those relationships, like Steve Keenum, Coach Keenum, who's the multi-area director for the FCA, and his son Case, who's back in Houston.
Yeah.
And saw him this morning at the FCA breakfast. I mean, guys like that who really are titans and on the Mount Rushmore of McMurray athletics over the course of history. Those are people that fortunately I've had a good relationship with and have known for a long time. And so you've
got that ability to bridge the gap because you're both of them.
Well, that
helps.
Yeah, I try. And, something I learned when I was at Hendricks with Coach Buchanan, my boss there, he said, and I don't know if these are the right percentages or not, but it's when we started football at Hendricks, that was a tough PR deal because they had not had football for 50 years, and it's a very, very high academic school. And so there were some people that had some feelings about bringing football back and what that was going to do to change the student population and so forth. And I remember Buck used to say this all the time. He said, 25% of the people are going to love you no matter what you do. So make sure you keep those people happy. 25% of the people on the other side of the spectrum, they're probably not going to care for you no matter what you do either.
Yes.
And don't worry about those. And then there's kind of 50% in the middle that, that can be won over one by one. And so listening to Joey McGuire this morning at FCA, you can't not feel the passion and the energy that he brings. But the thing that's neat about him is he he always remembers your name. He always makes you feel like you're the most important person that he's talking to at that moment.
He knows that relationships, and that's the key. Like, he knows how to build. And the other thing, Joey understands just in his press conference yesterday, when he's trying to give something, they ask him how he recruits, how he keeps people from entering the transfer portal. And you might have heard that clip as well. He said, we recruited same way at Cedar Hill. You give them a reason to not leave, and it's because of how you treat. It's how you treat your athletes. He said, "Are you recruiting your roster every day?" And then we appreciate Joey giving Dave Campbell's a shout out, saying that they needed to recruit us every day.
Sure.
But that's really how that works. Like to win that 50% for you guys. You just go out, you go one by one. You just treat people right. And that's what leads to success most of the time.
Absolutely. I mean, his message this morning was he said two things that were powerful. He talked about the difference between living in fear and living in faith. But really the second point he made, talking about being still, that's like the hardest thing in this world. You see teams that are jumping conferences. Heck, we're leaving to a new conference, which is
we'll get into that in a second.
We can get to that. But there's a transient nature to coaches and to players with the transfer portal, and is the grass greener on the other side of the hill? I mean, people are constantly asking that question, looking for a better opportunity, more money, this and that and the other. And I think the what's asked of us as head coaches and leaders and just coaches in general is to be the type of person that it would be hard for somebody to say, hey, I'd rather go somewhere else. And the only way you can do that is to build trust and to pour into people, and and that takes a lot of energy. It takes time.
You just got to love on people, man. Who don't like to be loved on, right? We all do, and that's that makes life fun because it's the positive side. Like too much negativity. That's what you guys battle. You got to battle that negativity. But we're going to talk about the positive. When you look at McMurray, not only do they have the base, the support, they got a move coming to the SCAC. This is your last year in the American Southwest. You're going to the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference. What's that conference going to provide you guys once you get over there?
Well, I'm excited about it either way. To be associated with Austin College, Texas Lutheran, Centenary College out of Shreveport, Louisiana, is starting football this next year, and they're going to be in there. Lyon College, who I was familiar with from my time in Arkansas at Hendricks. They're going to be coming down, and I think that there's still a lot of questions unanswered because we're going to see what's going to happen with Hardin-Simmons, Mary Hardin-Baylor, ETBU, and Howard Payne. I can't say. I have no crystal ball, but for us, it's going to be a neat move because we're going to be associating with really high academic achieving schools, and we have certainly increased our academic standards, and McMurray is a great school. It's very, very rigorous. Our kids get challenged. It's tough to earn a degree at McMurray, and so to be associated with those type of schools is great. And I think the level of competition is going to be really advantageous for us. The travel is great, budget wise, which is something that I'm always
big. That is a big deal.
But we look at it as a possible avenue to have a chance to get in the playoffs. Right now, let's call it what it is. Mary Hardin-Baylor is just the gatekeeper, and they have been for the last 2 decades, with a few rare exceptions. I played at Hardin-Simmons, and it was that way for a long time for Hardin-Simmons. And in any given year, either one of those teams are, I think, as good as anybody in the country. And we're certainly not there yet, and we want to be. We want to aspire to be at that level. But I do think that this conference move for us is forward-thinking. I think it's a prophetically good thing for McMurray. It positions us in a space where I think we can be more competitive.
Let's talk about you getting there, right?
Okay.
Because when you got to McMurray, I'm trying to remember what year. Was it 19 or 20?
Yeah, right before the 19 season.
Okay, so you come in right before the 19 season, didn't even get a full recruiting class at that point, right? Then we had to recruit our own players. You had to recruit your own players first. Yes. No. When a coach comes in, you have to recruit the current roster. Of course, you the same thing you're doing now, you had to do then, right? And then you're coming in, and everything gets shut down with COVID. That happens in 2020.
Yep.
It set you, honestly, 19. I get you foundation. We're building a culture. 20 COVID it almost made you restart your plan in 21. And so I feel like this year you're starting to kind of catch back where you would have been around 2021 time frame, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes. And
where you thought you would be,
yeah, and playing those kind of games of like what might have been, I think that can be a waste of time. I mean, you just it is what it is.
But you're on the path. I want to talk about the path, the way you're building that, because I say that because there was, you had a year in 19, 20, the COVID year just kind of blew it. Things were looking. You've got talent. You've had injuries and depth.
In the spring little mini season that we had in 2021, we went 2-3. And won a couple of really good ball games against teams that were still better than us, and at least had been more established than us.
Yeah,
we went from getting beat by 60 points to to Hardin-Simmons to getting beat by 30. And then
that's big.
And then just being able to cut that deficit and gain some traction there. And then in the 2021 fall season, a lot of people don't even remember this, but our first. Our scrimmage versus Trinity Valley Community College, that was canceled.
Yeah.
And all of our practices were canceled. We missed a game against Trinity University, so we only played 9 games that season. But, man, we got a lot more competitive that season. We were a lot more relevant. I don't hang my hat on this by any means, because when you lose by 1 or you lose by 100, it's still the same thing. But to go out and compete like we did against Hardin-Simmons, they beat us 24-21 over at their place.
Yes.
Our guys played like their head was just like their hair was on fire and the ground was a hot stove. I mean, they just played.
They played really well.
They played their tails off, and it gave us a sense of, hey, we're still not anywhere close to being where we want to be, facilities-wise, recruiting-wise. We had done no camps at that point in time. Still a ton of challenges and things that were kind of in our way, but that our guys walked away with, hey, if we'll continue to just pound sand and just get after it, we can be a competitive football team. And that's kind of where we've plateaued over the last year and a half.
Yeah.
But we need to.
How do you break through that this year?
Yeah, we need to develop a quarterback, and we need to keep a quarterback healthy. And I think we've got some great candidates to step in there. I won't name those guys, but I mean, I've got. Yeah,
we'll see them in September, right?
We'll reveal. Yeah, we'll reveal that at a later time. But we need that guy to step up and really be a consistent performer for us. But we've made a huge stride defensively, and I think if we can make the same kind of progressive jump that we made from 21 to 22 defensively,
yes,
and on paper, we got 9, 10, 11 of those guys back, and some depth, and some dudes with some real experience that are going to be juniors and seniors. Not a lot of seniors, but quite a few juniors. I look at that as going, I think we can be a tough team to beat with how well we play on defense. We made an absolutely tremendous breakthrough special teams wise, and we led the league in kickoff cover.
Nice.
We were second in punt, even though punt's a 4-letter word, and I hate to say that as an offensive coach. And fourth down and whatever.
That's called possession giveaway is what that's called, right?
Man, my college coaches used to say that punt is an offensive play. I'm like, bull crap. No, it's
not as bad as a turnover, though.
That's right. Yeah, no.
The turnover is a momentum changer,
for sure.
At least. So
and that's you talk about keys. I mean, being able to protect the ball.
Yeah.
In the Hardin-Simmons game, we were down 24-14, and we scored a touchdown, and it got called back for a holding call, which I'm still kind of mad about. Because I feel like that would have changed the dynamic of the game. We ended up getting backed up, and it came off the scoreboard, and then we turned it over.
Yeah.
Inside the 10-yard line, we threw an interception, and then they threw it over our head a couple plays later, and instead of it being 24-21, it's 31-14, and they kind of got away from us after that. But we just have to be a team that doesn't beat ourselves. Yeah. We've been a couple possessions away offensively, a couple scores away, and a couple of stops away on defense between, in my opinion, going from a team that you say, well, what do you got to do to break through, to, hey, we can't schedule these guys for homecoming every year anymore.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think we've already earned some of that respect. I mean, a couple coaches, we had lost a few games in a row, and I think we were like 0-3 going into the Southwestern game, and Joe Austin was like, "Man, you guys are the best 0-3 team I've ever seen." I said, "Well, I appreciate that. Doesn't make me feel any better.
It doesn't help, but thanks."
But at least we're,
He's great, by the way, too. Joe Austin.
Yeah, he's been a good friend. Yeah. So yeah.
Hey, well, I am looking forward to it. I appreciate so much you taking the time to come over here, get an interview. You guys are doing good things at McMurray. Mm-hmm. You're building something. Keep going. Keep grinding, man. You guys working together. It'll work out. Thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping by.
I'm going to make it hard for you to pick us 7th again next year.
I want you to. And listen, we always say this, right? But I'm dead serious. I want you to prove me wrong.
You bet.
I want nothing more than to write this year, McMurray is shocking the world. I really do.
Don't selectively edit that part out.
I'm not. No, we will not be. And because I want every team in Texas to win every week, right? And I realize it's not possible, but that's what I want. And so I want to write positive things. You give me a record, and we're gonna shower the love, my man.
I have every single Dave Campbell's football magazine in the history. I have them all.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of my favorite days of the year is when the magazine comes out. It doesn't matter if you got a good write-up, you got a great team, or you're average or below average, whatever. I love Dave Campbell's and for everything that you guys do, and I appreciate your friendship and
yes,
support.
Sir. No, I appreciate you, everything you do. and look, this is a great company, and it has very little to do with me and a whole lot to do with a whole lot of people around. We have a great team, and that's something that's important.
Yep.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thanks
I
again.
appreciate you.
All right.